beautifying afternoon to each and every one of you. The name is Evelyn Peligando from BSMA 1D, and for today's video presentation, I'm going to tackle in regards to the tips in preparing transcripts for audio-visual presentation. But before that, let's get to know first about the word transcripts. Are you familiar with transcripts, or do you have any ideas in attachments of transcripts? As a matter of fact, transcripts are actually the text versions of the content in any form of visual or audio presentation. Or in other words, these are actually the written account of format or written account of material originally presented in a different form or different versions. And they are provided as an alternative for listening to audios like podcasts and watching videos in YouTube or in TikTok or in other forms of online sites. And for audio presentation like podcasts, this is actually means of providing access of the content to the people who are unable to hear it. And for visual presentation, this is referring actually to the slow progress of your internet connection, wherein instead of waiting it to have a stable connection, transcripts are provided in order for the one seeker to gain knowledge, information, and data that you're looking for without actually waiting for the audio presentation and visual presentation to load and progress. And in contrast to that, video presentations should be captioned that it is very important that the text will be synchronized to the video. And one, for instance, that I can give you is that a great form of transcript is actually a subtitle like what we see in the movies, in the YouTube, or in any other forms of visual presentation and audio presentation being clashed. And however, if the videos are actually presented with captions, it is highly practiced that transcripts should be executed and exhibited in the form of providing information to the seekers and audiences, since it actually has benefits or additional benefits that it can provide to those who are actually wanting to gain information and data. And lastly, transcripts are actually a form of alternative, right? So it should be both or including both of the visual presentation and also description of it. Like instead of having only the visual presentation like videos and audio presentation, the audios, below that you can also find the transcripts of the information being given so that there will be no hassles like loading or progressing of low internet connection or even in the slow poke of your audio presentation. So transcripts are there in order to share knowledge without any hindrances or obstacles along the way to gaining information that one is seeking. And so that ends with the world of transcripts, or knowing and getting to know with transcripts. And right now we are going to go further along with the tips on preparing transcripts for audio-visual presentation. So we have here a step-by-step guide on the transcription process. So first is that we have listen before transcribing an interview. Next is that transcribe a first draft. And third one is that edit your draft after or for accuracy. And the fourth one is that format the transcription. And lastly, finalize the transcription process. So under the listen before transcribing an interview or other recordings, we have also the tips here to be followed in order to have a successful type of flow in this portion. So first one is that listen to the audio or watch the video first. So to speak or to tell you frankly, how will one be able to transcribe a video or audio without actually witnessing what's the content all about? In order to have knowledge and information of what you're going to transcribe or to do a transcript, you must know the content, the flow, in the story of every detail that needs to be transcribed. And so, first one, which is listen to the audio or watch the video first. This is an initial step for you to get to know the flow, to get to know what are you going to share to the audiences in regards to the information that is needed to be executed or showcased. Second is that identify the speakers and understand the flow of the conversation. So, an example that I can give is that a scenario of having a talk show wherein there is an interviewer and the interviewee. And in that case, we have the flow of conversations wherein there could be a content of what they are conversing and talking all about. And in that case, you need to know the speaker's intent, the expressions, the tones, the mood, the ambiances, literally everything in the flows of that certain event. So identifying the speakers are actually a one way to know what is actually going to be executed in a form of words and expressions and phrases and sentences and statements, whatever it is. The one who will transcribe or make the transcript of the certain audio or visual presentation should know the details of what is going to be executed and exhibited for clarity and also for the validity, and lastly for the reliability of information that should be shared and showcased to the audiences. And then the third step of tip is that take note of terms you don't understand. And as the one who transcribed the visual or audio presentation, it is your actual duty to further comprehend and research of what is the real meaning of the statement or phrases executed by the ones who talk it out. And also, from the research you're going to do, you will be able to break down confusions of what is actually the meaning and the things that should be further shared among your audiences. And the fourth one is that look up unfamiliar terms for context and clarity. This is actually an attachment to the third point or tip, which is take note of terms you don't understand and then look it up for the unfamiliar terms for the context and clarity to avoid confusions, to avoid errors, to avoid gathering informations that are fraud. It is actually a right thing to do to have the validity, reliability, and the accuracy of your information shared among your audiences. It is just in right act to research and comprehend and look up for informations of what is really the content of that conversation. Wherein if you have difficulty understanding that part, you need to further play it back in order for you to understand what is actually the conversation is all about. Or you can look it up to other forms of online sites whether what is really behind those statements. And lastly, use the above steps to help transcribe the document for more accuracy. So, as you follow the steps being provided for the tips in listening before transcribing an interview or other recording, this will lead to a successful, manageable type of preparations for your transcripts for the audio visual presentation, as well as to eliminate fraud and then raise up the reliability and validity of your content among your audiences.
So, hello everyone. I am Shirin Webinondo from BSMA 1B. So, today, I will discuss about the transcribe a first draft. So, first, start the transcription process for real. So, diri nga part is sabotable na jud kay siya, guys. So, inig-start sa transcription process dapat tinuod jud. Second is don't worry about catching everything verbatim the first draft. So, dili na angay mabalaka for about catching everything word for words in the first draft. Third is use abbreviations and shortcuts to capture the gist. So, example ani guys is kanang sa Kurt hearing ilang gamiton is stenographic word to make the word short. So, fourth, this can be helpful if your typing speed is slow. So, mas makatabang ni siya if kanang ikaw nga klase nga pagkatao is hinay kang mo type. So, lastly, go back and fix errors in the second pass. So, after nimo nga mahuman nimo ang upat nga steps, mubalik ka aron pang-review sa mga errors nga correct.
Okay, so thank you Miss Sharon Binondo for sharing the transcribe of first draft. Now, so let's go to the third one. So, edit your draft for accuracy. Now, the step on it, so the first one will be polish your rough draft. So, this means that in editing your draft, you must finalize all the things that needed to be in a draft. Now, second, listen to the audio while following along with your draft. So, it says earlier nga dapat no listen dito sa audio, like how the process going on. Now, the third one, edit to include miss words and correct phrases. So you must include misword and correct phrases. And the fourth one, spell out abbreviation like my course B is IT. So I spell it out long, Bachelor in Science in Information Technology. And the fourth one, make sure your attribute conversation to the correct speaker. So you must make sure that in attributing the conversation to the right speaker. And lastly, don't worry about grammar in transcribing the exact language regardless of whether it's grammatically correct or not. So you don't worry about grammar in editing your draft. So continuing about editing your draft for accuracy, it will be discussed to the another member.
The fourth step guide to the transcription process is formatting the transcription. Formatting the transcription includes using sic to indicate grammatical errors made by the speaker. Sic is a Latin term that means thus or so. It is used in written text to indicate that an error or unusual usage is part of the original source material. When transcribing an audio-visual presentation, it is the speaker that makes the grammatical error. You can indicate it by placing sic immediately after the error to show that it is faithfully reproduced from the original source. Formatting the transcription process includes also using of brackets to indicate non-verbal communication such as laughter or signing. In an audio-visual presentation, non-verbal communication like laughter, signing, or any other sound made by the speaker that are not part of the spoken words can be indicated using brackets. For example, if someone laughs during the presentation, you can represent it as open bracket laughter then close bracket in the transcript. Formatting the transcription process also includes uses of pause and inaudible to indicate gaps in dialogues or words that can't be understood. When transcribing an audio-visual presentation, there might be instances where the speaker pauses for a moment or when certain words or phrases are difficult to understand. To represent pauses, you can use open bracket pause, close bracket, within brackets. If there are words or parts of the dialogue that are unclear or inaudible, you can indicate them as open bracket, inaudible, close bracket to indicate that the content is intelligible. By following these guidelines, you can create a more accurate and comprehensive transcript for an audiovisual presentation, capturing not only the spoken words but also relevant non-verbal cues and any gaps or unclear sections in the dialogue. The fifth and the final step guide to the transcription process is finalizing the transcription process. Finalizing the transcription process includes number 1, listen to the audio one more time. Before finalizing the transcript, it's essential to give audio another thorough listen. This allows you to catch any miss or misunderstood parts and ensure the accuracy of the transcription. It also includes number 2, read along the transcription. As you listen to the audio, read along with the transcription thoroughly. This helps you identify any discrepancies or errors in the written text and compare it to the spoken words. Another is number 3, check for accuracy and overall quality. Pay close attention to the accuracy of the transcription. Verify that the transcript text correctly represents what was said in the audio, including any specific terminology or technical details. Additionally, assess the overall quality of the transcript, checking for consistent formatting, punctuation, and grammar. Step 4 is make any necessary corrections or adjustment to the transcription. If you come across any mistake or inconsistencies during the review process, make the necessary correction in the transcript. This includes fixing any typographical errors, ensuring proper punctuation and grammars, and addressing any missing and unclear sections. By following these finalization tips, you can ensure the accuracy and quality of your transcript, resulting in a reliable and comprehensive presentation of the audio-visual presentation.
So that actually ends for today's lesson, and I hope you have gathered a lot of information